Well, good day to everyone here in the Phillip Island. Well, we're actually pretty close to Melbourne. We're here in the Victorian state of Australia for round 8A of the 2024-2025 Formula Hololive International season. Welcome everyone here to this magnificent and picturesque island. So anyways, let's take a look into what the track looks like. And also just want to remind everyone, welcome back everyone into the stream, as we're going to change the track map here to make it look more appropriate. Anyways, here's Phillip Island, 4.4 kilometers of basically the entire track to deal with for a single lap. 12 corners only. 57 laps are to be run here in this 250-kilometer race, as this is a Super Prix rather than a Grand Prix. And because this is a Super Prix, the basically field is essentially split into two. Looking at the target lap, so we're probably going to be looking at a target 115.690. Now, the race was initially moved forward to Friday from its original Saturday date to now classic hall stage at Taiwan. The Hololive essentially added that into their schedule pretty late on. And then there are other commitments for the host that prevented the stream to be done on Friday, which is essentially tomorrow, so it has to be done today. So welcome everyone, and if you are a bit affected by the schedule, we can only apologize. It's also the home race for Hako's Bales, and also a debut weekend, basically not exactly a debut weekend, but it is a debut race for Mono Zetaro, who replaces the ongoing Juanica Stanto. So this is going to be a pretty a big race for a lot of the drivers involved, as this is also going to be the race that essentially coincides with the final Holo Stage concert of the quote-unquote World Tour. I still can't tell why they want to call it World Tour if they only visit the USA and some in other Asian countries. But anyways, let's move on. I probably forgot about this one. So anyways, let's take a look at the championship order after round 7, the Malaysia Grand Prix. We're only going to be taking a look into 13 drivers here. Ryan Haziq Yazid, Joshua Zurich, Liam Carz, and then we have Aziz Muazif, Ezio Ferrari, Mono Zetaro, essentially replacing Juanica Stanto in this standings here. So if you see Juanica Stanto, that's the one as of round 7. So keep that in mind. Then there's Ludwig Boschfall, Hanari Miyuki, also counting towards Split A, Dan Evans, Ethan Brilson, Angela Sims, Grave Flower, Takeda Adachi. That should be your 13 drivers racing here in this split. And you can take your time to pause the stream at your own pace to see where they are. But for me, take a look at Haziyazi, who's currently leading the Split A standings. And with that out of the way, let's finally move on to our favorite part of this stream. Welcome back, everyone, to the Adak-RMS organization. We're very much happy to have all of you here, as we have finally resumed operations after a 4-week break, which after the 4-week break, we essentially went into, you know, a bit of a comic fiesta type of stuff. I also like to thank everyone for the signatures that I have received, and for the support that I have also, well, we have also received. Really can't thank everyone enough. Actually, just wanted to do something first, actually, before we actually get this qualifying session underway, because we need to adjust the regulations. We have adjusted the fuel. I absolutely hope that the fuel loads are going to be pretty accurate. So we are going to be seeing a slight delay to the start of qualifying. Oh yeah, in between Phillip Island and the previous race at Sepang, just wanted to remind everyone that yeah, how do we put this? Oh yes, so there were Comic Fiesta related stuff, and there were also how do you say this? New Year's countdown related stuff. We are still Just doing a lot of stuff for the VTuber Racing project as a partner member to essentially the various series that will be hosted. But now let's finally get ourselves back on topic. Let's take a look into the start of qualifying. First driver out on track is Dan Evans, on which he's definitely had a very, very interesting race though. Last time out, actually. When the last time we actually have this car race, the car actually was in the bottom positions. I believe it was in the bottom 8 positions outside the top 20. Had to went to pre-qualifying and actually made the cut very late on. Ooh, this is going to be a bit issue. This is a bit iffy. Driver's going off wide. And then actually managed to have a miracle P2 run in all of this. So we really can't wait to see how Dan Evans bring himself back into the racetrack. And also, I forgot to remind everyone, if you haven't heard the news, there is going to be a guest driver running for, not exactly running for point, but running in this race. Boom. The number 12 ASCII Formula Hololive car is currently in the pit lane, just waiting to get out, and there is the move. So, due to the 2 Hololive members from EN graduating, being involved in end of streaming activities, we are going to be seeing some JP class drivers joining in the field to keep the grids back to 14. Keep the grid size back to 14. And right now, Chris Salman does need some extra time on the track due to his poor 2024 Formula Hololive Japan campaign. And also, ASCII and Tsunamaki Watami are set to participate in the Hololive stage. And only recently I found out they've also been using the bright outfits. So Chris Salman and Muhammad Cashew will be participating in this week's races. Liam Kai will also be racing. Representing Hakos Bales, who will also be directly participating in the weekend. So anyways, let's go on board with Liam Kai as we're about to start the lap. Final corner. Pretty flat out here, no questions to be asked. And then coming into the first corner, it's a fast flowing circuit, this Phillip Island. So you can see here, coming to the end of this, flat out 2. Oh my goodness. And then coming into the very long turn 2, you can see he carries a lot of speed. They're still maintaining himself at 3rd gear. And then into one of the few slower corners. He was actually that middle corner there, turn 4. And then turn 6, Siberia. And then turn 7 and 8 should be a flat out affair, as Liam Kai just continues to bring his car further up and down there into Lukey Heights there. So this one you have to be pretty careful with your progression. Don't go too much on the throttles. You'll go out wide in turn 10, another slow quarter. Then turn 11 you have to go a bit. You have to lift off a bit to not go off. And then here's turn 11 and turn 12. Turn 12 being the flat out corner that it is. Let's see how Liam Kai's onboard lap should be, and that is actually puts himself up into 4th place. Because Salman, the only JP class car in this race, has put his car into 4th place. Karachi, after the huge disappointment that was Sepang, where he failed to qualify, he will have a guaranteed spot this race. Well, look at Josh Azurit, the 116.683 for the Mori Calliope driver. It will be interesting to see how these drivers would go on into the rest of this qualifying session. Speaking of which, that's a very good amount of parity there. Into a Ferrari, only 1 second. Only 1 second behind Joshua Zurich, though, in 12th place. Louis Boschwald, on the other hand, is struggling. That number 34 Cecilia car. Most likely have been very used to European tracks. Anyway, another guy is not having a good amount of moments, though. He is doing pretty decently in terms of keeping his car on the track. The automaton in himself, just trying to, you know, get himself to a decent lap time, though. Meanwhile, Takeda Adachi, though, you saw how he progressed on that previous lap, and now he sets himself into a 1:16.641, fastest out of anyone so far. Really trying to make a redemption from the disappointment that was the previous race at Sepang. Again, as we like to mention, he failed to qualify on that race, on a race where you only needed to have 25 cars. Oh, and that's gonna be a blockage, so he won't be getting any lap times here. So Gray Brower also doing a very good job this race. He now is in 4th place. Ethan Bertelsen is in 3rd place. Liam Kai currently sitting in 6th place. Aziz Muazif 7th. Hazik Yazid 8th. Monazetaro in his ARO debut. He is currently in 9th. Monazetaro not having a lot of time right now, but he is still maintaining a position in 9th. Oh, and that's Liam Kai off, though. Liam Kai off at turn 4. Oosh. If you want to know what exactly happened, it looks like he got hit by someone, or just went off wide. I'll tell you the likely explanation is that it just went off wide. Meanwhile, looking back into Great Powers is on board. Let's see where he essentially lands himself in that Gargura number 99. He has a pretty roller coaster journey since entering the ARO, crashing out at Sunto, then having a climb up at the back in Sepang. In the meantime, he does join a VTuber organization called Rapsodia, on which unfortunately the group barely lasted. It didn't last long, unfortunately, and Grave went immediately turned himself to a free agent as Hazik Yazid, though, 1:16.420. A marked improvement from everyone else in the field. He now gets up into pole position with that time, setting a good time for Sherry Novella and the Novelites. Well, Great Power just hasn't been gaining a lot of time since all that. And just a reminder, all JP class cars, if they are to run multi-class with the EN and IT class cars, they have to be given an 80 kilo ballast. And right now, Salman is doing pretty decently, even with the 80 kilo ballast in his car. And as you can see, he wants to gain a lot of time, but Ethan Bertelsen hasn't been giving him a lot of flack. Also, Bertelsen having a bit of a unhappy moment at Sepang. It wasn't Moomin. It wasn't all Moomin in Sepang. He did qualify in this race after having to go through pre-qualifying, but also at the same time he did crash out on lap 1 on the main race. So that's that. So anyways, I wish everyone is actually watching this stream so that I can like talk about the whole Nerissa lurking around Twitter and liking any post that she finds, because that is what she's currently doing. And just a reminder that Nerissa actually dropped by into the organization in support of her car. Well, at least that's how we would interpret it. But us, generally, I would feel like she's also going to be rooting for Ryan Kagawa, which he is not racing this stream. Well, not racing today, because Alba goes into the pits to see if he can find some space in this pretty decently sized Phillip Island circuit. And to no surprise, we are not seeing any improvements. Salman now currently serving his time in the pits. Meanwhile, we're looking at the driver representing the hometown hero, that is Paco's Bales. Bit of a traffic though, honestly, we're gonna be checking here. So there's not much of a chance to get a good lap here with 3 minutes to go. However, we are seeing some improvements though. Dan Evans, I believe, has now won up into P10. Bumps Hanari Miyuki down in 11th. Looking pretty decent though, Dan Evans though. However, he is only 2/10 back after the first few corners there, after the first sector. Coming into turn 8 and then into turn 9, Dan Evans now just hang around turn 9 to turn 10. This very tight hairpin of 54.963. He is having a very, very good lap though. Only 0.04 of a second slower than the pole time. I believe Dan Evans is gonna be red hot coming to this one. Enzo Ferrari is gonna be setting a 1:16.358. What is going to be Dan Evans' response? 5th. First and final sectors causing decent amounts of damage to his lap time, but he is now up into 5th at least. Enzo Ferrari now in pole position with 1:16.358. Meanwhile, we're going to be taking a look into the sole JP class car who has made the trip all the way from Japan, and there's not much improvement in that time, so he won't be challenging for pole position at least in this lap. Miyuki gets up into 10th. Takeda Adachi 3rd, Azurit 4th, Evans 5th, Bertolson 6th, Prower 7th. Ray Brower, meanwhile, having a pretty decent lap for himself, though, even though he is going to be at risk of dirty air and him being blocked by Liam Kai. He is having a pretty decent lap. Let's just hope that he doesn't lose a lot of time. However, he is making his move through the pits, so that's going to be his lap. Well, his qualifying session done. He will not qualify higher than 7th. Lots of intrigue coming into the final 30 seconds of qualifying. Will Enzo Ferrari manage to extend his lead? How he does it, meanwhile, says adios to this qualifying session. Adachi, meanwhile, oh, a little bit Boschwald though has improved. He now sets a 1:16.989 to now at least Bob Miyuki and Zetaro down to at least a position. So Boschwald is going to be in 11th place. And so the timer has reached 0. Dan Evans, meanwhile, is currently in the pit lane. Azim Wazif, on the other hand, is gonna try to bring it home for the Reseters. Because the Reset had her birthday stream last year, just tomorrow. So, I mean, yesterday. So Azim Wazif is gonna have lots of reasons to push for something great here for Ayunda Risu. Of course, using the right uniforms to great effect. We finished this entire qualifying session with Hanari Miyuki being one of the last few runners in this qualifying session. Oh, and that's Joshua Zurich making his mark improvement. He now gets up into 3rd place. Very great stuff. Hanari Miyuki. And that should be all of the drivers. Saying the lap time, Hanari Miyuki being the last of them. And with that being confirmed, Indian Ferrari is your pole sitter for the Phillip Island Super Prix. Well, let's not really beat around the bush at this point, as we are now just going to double check on who is now going to qualify. Well, who is going to be starting on where. And that being said, let's take a look into the starting lineup here for the Phillip Island Grand Prix. Enzo Ferrari starts for Rara Pantera on pole position here in Phillip Island with Hazik Yazid racing for Sharon Novella, who have recently announced or basically revealed her casual outfit. He'll start 2nd. Joshua Zert starts 3rd for Mori Calliope with Nino Maina's driver Takeda Adachi trying to find his redemption here in Phillip Island. He will start 4th. Dan Evans starts 5th for the number 15 Yofi Carz after finishing 2nd in Sepang. Ethan Bertelsen starts 6th for Nanashi Mume, as he will be making his run into the top 5 soon. All the humans are going to be watching with excitement. Great Power starts 7th for Gargura with the hometown VTuber being represented by Liam Kai starting in 8th. Aziz Wazif, the 23-24 Formula Hall International Champion, starts 9th with Crystal Salman 10th for ASCII as a debut as a guest car. And I just want to remind everyone that Crystal Salman will not be awarded points as he is listed as a guest, so he will be ineligible for points. But he will steal points positions away from other drivers, so that's going to be another thing to watch out. Loic Boschwald 11 for Cecilia Immergreen with 12th place going to Hanari Miyuki and Kobo Kanair. Mono Zetaro in his debut race for Oro Crony will start 13th for Oro Crony. And Angela Sims will start 14th for Animal Fissa. So that out of the way, we got an intriguing race on our hands. Unfortunately, there are no cameras. Oh wait, there is. So we are going to be shifting through the cameras. With that being said, we got 14 cars, including one JP class car, lined up on the grid here for the start of the Phillip Island Super Prix. Sorry, I forgot to tell you, it's not a Grand Prix, it's a Super Prix. As we are now getting the lights ready, it's Enzo Ferrari on pole position with Hazik Yazid alongside him, and we are go. Hang on. Are we actually scheduled for 45 laps? Hang on. Oh dear. We are just going to double check on the this one. Let me just so apologies for a slight delay. We are going to cancel the initial start. Yep, we have miscalculated the start. Yeah. So apologies if we're gonna have to like give us a bit of a give us like a possible 5-minute delay as we have. Oh dear, how did we miss that? Anyways, we are just going to null and void the session here. So due to this, we are most likely not going to have a live championship point standings update after this race. But we are just going to have a quick race actually instead. So we are just going to be updating the field based on where they start. So it's actually. So again, we'd like to apologize for the massive setback. So again, just wanted to reiterate to everyone, Enzo Ferrari starts on pole position. Enzo Ferrari, sorry, it's going to be Hazik Yazid in second, and then we have Joshua Zurit third. Takeda Adachi is in fourth. Dan Evans actually. I forgot to actually remind everyone that Dan Evans is actually also the home driver. Ooh. And then Ethan Bertelson starting sixth. Ray Prower starting seventh. And then Liam Kai eighth. And then Aziz Moazif ninth. Crystal Salmon 10th. And then after that, we can talk about Ludwig Boschval and Hanari Miyuki. And then we have Mono Zetaro 13th with Angela Sims 14th. All right, so we are going to get this grid back going. Hang on, just wanted to forgot to essentially get the laps actually properly sorted. It's not going to be run at 45 laps. We forgot to change the lap with the distance from 200 to 250. Also, again, we are going to run the start again. So again, we apologize this one, but not like everyone was watching anyway. So it's going to be once again, it's going to be Hazik Yazid on the front row alongside pole sitter Enzio Ferrari Patera. The 57 laps of the Phillip Island Super Prix is finally a go. And it's actually going to be Hazik Yazid though taking the start, taking the lead away from Enzio Ferrari, but not for long, as Enzio Ferrari hangs around the inside at turn 1 and now into turn 2. A pretty off-camber this corner, so each of these drivers had to be very careful. And I heard there's contact at the back, and there's actually 3 drivers out. It's Gray Brower and Aziz Wasif. Absolutely poor luck for the 2 drivers who were involved in this accident. Meanwhile, there's more accidents afoot. We heard there's contact, but fortunately these drivers, at least at turn 4, will be continuing. So we're now down to only 12 cars. Very, very unfortunate to see the state of play being like this. But meanwhile, we do actually have at least Great Power and Aziz Moazif having their cars immediately go back into the racetrack. So they're not out and out just yet. Meanwhile, looking into the race fuel monitor again, it looks to me that we're still going to be stuck with a 60-liter fuel load rule. So we're going to be seeing at least 3 or 4 pit stops, or maybe 2 pit stops here in this race that will be adjusted in all future Super Prix. All future races, though. We've all got lap 2 finally started with Enzo Ferrari being able to maintain his race lead. Hazik Yazid second. Meanwhile, Dan Evans and Joshua Zurit, though, now tangling for position, as Joshua Zurit doesn't have the best of starts, though. He actually fell down from 3rd to 6th. But not before he will try to defend his position, or rather gain back his position against Dan Evans. Oh, and that's actually Dan Evans dive-bombing Joshua Zurit to actually maintain 5th place. He mentioned 70s touring car racing, and that is essentially how it is going to be for the home driver. Meanwhile, we are just going to update the points for a few. That is, if we are going to be seeing some updates. Ray Power and Aziz Moazif are still actually running in this race. Enzo Ferrari. Now Haziyazi has the fastest lap. Haziyazi is now going to be chasing Ferrari with the multitude of information that has been provided by Sherry Novella. Meanwhile, there's another side-by-side battle with Ethan Bertelson and Dan Evans, though. Dan Evans actually went to the inside of turn 1. Dan Evans is on the charge on his home race. But it's going to be a pretty interesting sight to see how Dan Evans deals with this corner this time. He doesn't finally leave space, though, for Ethan Burleson, but it will be his corner, and that's going to be another driver off, and that's Hanari Miyuki. Looks like it was contact at the exit of turn 2. Will she be able to get herself back out? The answer is going to be yes. This will cause some trouble for her, as she is now passed by Prower and Wazif. So there's going to be, we're actually also going to be testing a new rule, though, of if you have crashed, you can immediately get back into a race, which essentially gives drivers the ability to finish races even though there are a few laps down. Meanwhile, the Evans have essentially gained another position, though, or rather he's now up into 3rd place with him now charging towards the field. He now has the fastest lap with race 1:16.609. It feels like since entering Sepang, he has become a man possessed. Dan Evans now trying to make a challenge to the top 2. And the big question is, will he be able to challenge Hazik Yasid and Enzo Ferrari? And also just noticing, though, Prower and Moise have yet to cross the line. Meanwhile, there's going to be, this is it, this is the move. Dan Evans now up into 2nd after making his move known to essentially Haji Yazid, and now his eyes are set to Enzo Ferrari, who is currently on pole position. And with all of these drivers actually bunching up here, that means we get to see Dre Prower, though, actually gaining a bit onto Ludwig Boschball and Costa Salman and co. And this is a very, very great run, though, from Dan Evans. No, he will not make him move down the inside for the race lead. For Enzo Ferrari has to make his move to defend. And his move should be done at turn 2. Dan Evans has made his way into the race lead, and the whole fans got to be excited about this. That was a great move to get himself up into the front. 4 positions gained since the start. But also watch out for Angela Sims, though. She's gained 6 positions from the start. Just look at how much she has gained. Sorry at the back. Now in 8th place. .46 seconds, though, between Aziz Mwazif and Hanari Miyuki. Hanari Miyuki, meanwhile, has already set her personal best, but she is currently at risk of being sent a lap down by Dan Evans, who has now gained over 1 second of a gap over Enzo Ferrari. And you can see here, amidst everyone setting 118s, with the exception of Liam Kyle setting at 117s. Dan Evans is also setting at 117, and that should allow Dan Evans to essentially gain an advantage over everyone with a lot of clean air. Liam Kyle also does have clean air around him, but at the very least, he should be. Well, unfortunately for him, actually, he does have Ethan Brolson in front of him, so that is that. Can't help but feel excitement for the humans, as they now finally get to see their Oshi actually performing once again here in, well, Phillip Island after a horrific race at Sepang. Just wanted to check into Liam Kaiz's on board as Dan Evans just continues to pull away from the rest of the field with again another lap being faster than anyone so far. Meanwhile, we're looking at a move though between Takeda Adachi though and Haziq Yazid. Haziq Yazid started second and he's now fallen down, but he will be putting up a decent fight against Adachi. Adachi meanwhile tries to hang around the outside, and if he can still hang around the outside and not lose a lot of grip, but he has to watch out though for Enzio Ferrari. Will he be making a double dive bomb? The answer is going to be no. Enzio Ferrari is actually blocking some of Adachi's advancements, and now we get to see Adachi finally slotting himself into third place, but not before Haziq Yazid tries to gung-ho his way into a position that he should be familiar with. Potential battles afoot between Joshua Azurid and Angela Sims. Well, we're gonna have to take a look into how this goes, as actually and also just want to remind also everyone, Moaziv and Prower have switched positions. They are now, well, Moaziv's now in 12th, Ray Prower's in 13th. And that's Haziq Yazid. Haziq Yazid's off at turn 2. Oh, it looks to me that he did went off there. You saw the tire marks. He actually went off at that corner on his own, and he will have to put himself back into the pit lane. But unfortunately, this would mean that he will be going to suffer a pretty sad, not exactly sad, but he is now in the pits, so there won't be too many problems. But I think he won't be going back now. I think this will be actually no. I was going to say this will be his first DNF, but at the very least he is back in service. Meanwhile, looking into potential moves, though I didn't know there was moves though by Angela Sims and Joshua Azurid. Joshua Azurid now having to fall down into 7th place, back to where he was, I believe, before. Essentially, Haziq Yazid losing his control of the car and then just going off at turn 2. And right now, coming into 9 laps complete, Haziq Yazid is currently down to 11th, or 41 seconds behind, or rather, just a few more seconds behind though, as we are not going to be seeing Hanari Miyuki finally passing to the start-finish line to finally confirm the rotation of the grid. Let's see where Haziq Yazid actually is compared to Hanari Miyuki. We have a lot of time lost. 13 seconds behind Hanari Miyuki. Whoosh. So we essentially have 9 cars left in the main pack. Somewhat. Salman though, having a pretty decent race though. He is staying in P8 on this ASCII Formula Hololive car. I just want to show you the comparison though. The top speed is actually much higher this time for this JP class cars, but I feel like the corner carrying abilities have been affected though by the ballast. And here's Crystal Salman just continuing to make things work in that asking number 12, but right now he is going to be stuck in midfield as it stands. Denovis has crossed the line to finish lap 10. We are now on lap 11 in this race. Meanwhile, are there any potential battles to look out for? The answer is no so far, but meanwhile we are going to be paying attention to maybe Great Power and Aziz Wazif. Limkai, meanwhile, gets very close to Ethan Burleson, and we feel like there might be a battle brewing between the Council/Promise members. Only 3 members left in Council and 4 members left in Promise, which is going to be a big thing to note, actually. Meanwhile, we are going to be looking into Danavis's gap, to Enzo Ferrari that he has maintained ever since he overtook him on around lap 4 or 5, I believe. But yeah, it's going to be Danavis's finals race so far, as we are seeing a very great race for basically the drivers involved. Takeda, meanwhile, is getting also very close to Enzo Ferrari as all of this is happening. The gap's not only at 6 tenths of a second, and looking actually back into the race field monitor, they will be hitting in the next 25 laps. So it will be likely that we actually will only be seeing a one-stop strategy for these drivers. And if you want to actually mention about Chris Salmon, he will be pitting in soon, as his fuel loads are going to be shrinking very, very soon. He will be hitting in the next few laps to go through the end of this race. But right now we are seeing 3 potential battles that may be brewing, but unfortunately nothing is coming out of it just yet. Enzo Ferrari 117.930 and doing pretty okay so far. Oh, still trying to get close, but this time he actually lost a lot of time though to Enzo Ferrari. Not what he is actually looking for, but I guess we'll have to just driving very calmly there, Takeda Adachi, just like Ina. She's very calm, collected, just takes things pretty slowly. But she does want to get herself ready. She does get herself ready, and you know, you look at what she did in the Mario Kart stream in 2024, and you see how much she could throw herself at it when needs be. Josh Zurich now sets his personal best of the race so far. However, he is 5 seconds behind Angela Sims. So this will be something to look out for, as we are now... Oh, Again, Takeda Adachi just going off wide, losing a lot of time though to Enzo Ferrari. Now we can absolutely say that the race has absolutely calmed down. Lap 14 and 57. Still a long way to go in this race. And now we have Takeda Adachi currently in control in third place. But he does mess up his line somewhere. I just wanted to see if anyone else is watching the stream, which I'm not going to be pretty optimistic about. Going across the Salman, as we mentioned, Salman will be pitting pretty early in this race, and that is going to be our answer. We should get better angles here in areas, because Salman will be good until the end of this race. He is currently filled at 106 liters, and so his move should be out soon. Well, not really that soon. As you can see here, here's Dan Evans, almost about to finish the lap. Here's Yazzie, so just finished the lap, so you can see how close it was for Yazzie to be lapped by Dan Evans. Because Salman's taking a very long time to get his car serviced. So he will be sent a lap down by Dan Evans. Meanwhile, Angela Sims is just going to maintain where she is right now in 6th, despite being under a second to Liam Kai. And if you just want to ask where's DRS, there is no DRS. This is to make them essentially equal to the JP class cars. And also, just a reminder, push to pass is also not in the car as well, so that's also going to be that. So 15 laps complete. We should have, we haven't actually yet passed the 1/3 mark of this race just yet. Still a long way to go though, as we are excited to see how each of these drivers essentially get their deals done. Way per hour now up into 11 after the initial lap 1 collision with Aziz Muasif. Hainer Miyuki, Haji Yazzie, and Chris Salman were also involved in accidents. Miyuki and Yazzie were involved in accidents as well. And Chris Salman is now ahead of Eden Burleson, Liam Kai, and Angelo Sim, so he is a lap down to at least 3 cars. But as you can see here, Salman is trying to get his pace up. Eden Burleson is not happy about this as he's being blocked by a lap car. And you can see the huge pace difference there from Burleson. Will he make a move down the inside? He will make his move down the inside to send Salman a lap down, and that's Liam Kai going off. Oh, it makes contact with Angela Sims. And it's gonna be a slam. Angela Sims and Joshua Zurich, though, not enough time to respond. That was an insane set of events that happened between Burleson and Kai and Zurich. This is what I mentioned about checking up against lap cars, and yeah, you can see how much it affected and you can see how much it affected Angela Sims though, and Joshua Zurich. Joshua Zurich slammed to the back of Angela Sims. Sims went off after making contact with Liam Kai, trying to find some space. But that was a pretty chaotic set of events that we have seen so far here in Phillip Island. In Wilson now opens the gap in 4th place. Because Salman has a full load of fuel, so he will be very slow. He finally clears Liam Kai. Salman just needs to bring his car to the finish line. That's all he needs to do. Meanwhile, looking into the rest of the field here, Angela Sims though at around 5/10 of a second slower than, well, 5/10 behind Joshua Zurid. So a new dynamic has been formed in this race. Sometimes a double check is all you need, and I feel like there will be double checks from time to time. And just wanted to double check onto the other drivers involved. No, there are no cars within a second off each other, so that's going to be a thing to note. Meanwhile, just wanted to check onto, well, no one actually. We're just gonna be checking around Angela Sims' progress as she maintains her place on the racetrack. See here trying to make moves though against Joshua Zurid but right now it's not working so far, as now Krista Salman is going to be blocking Joshua Zurid this time. I'm not sure about Salman's pit stop strategy, but I think if it works here, if it should work here, it should be working. But you can see here the amount of fuel and weight that Salman has to deal with, and now he has to deal with actually Joshua Zurid making a pretty easy move against Salman to essentially put him further lap down. Here's on board Krista Salman. Oh, and that's Hazik Yazid making his move. I'm not sure what the timing tower was telling us. But anyways, Angela Sims is now closer than ever to Joshua Zurid. If she can really make use of this slipstream and not lose a lot of time in the corners. Yep, she is gaining time, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. Yep, she is gaining a lot of time though, but she's not close enough. Lap 21 of this race, and it's still a pretty low-key affair. I mean, you can see here once again Angela Sims just really wants to prove that she is faster than Joshua, but right now she really needs to get herself into it. And you can see how many times she just tries to get close, but again, she's like 0.5 of a second behind. This is not going to be enough if she wants to mount a charge against Zurid, who's currently running 6. doing pretty decently so far, but let's see how much farther than she can go. But she is getting close here. But if she knows how to dive bomb, only 0.2 of a second. Will a dive bomb be made by Sims? Gets very, very close. Makes contact this time with Joshua Azurid. Not sure if there's going to be damage under that front wing, but let's just hope that there's not. Lap 22, lap 23, it's going to be very interesting to see how much closer Sims can go, but you can see here she lost a lot of time at the hairpin. Azurid just handles the tight corners way better though than Angel Sims, especially on that turn 10. Very good quality for what we're seeing so far. Oh, that's Takeda Adachi! Takeda Adachi's went off! Looks like he has went off at... Oh, yeah. You can tell that he actually understeered at turn 2. And that's gonna be a promising race. Coming down to nothing. Ooh. Very, very unfortunate for the Ina driver who really wanted to change things around. Well, at the very least, you can hope that other drivers would be making mistakes as high profile as him, as he will probably be teleporting to the pits soon to get himself back into the race. This is going to be a feature that we are going to be seeing if we can try to bring back. Takeda Adachi is now back onto the track. Looks to me that Adachi will be down in maybe 10th or 11th based on projections. Sama is currently 26 seconds behind Hanari Miyuki, who is the last driver in the field. Not sure where Boschwall will cross the line, but it looks like Boschwall will have 7th place as it stands after starting outside the top 10. Not sure where Haziyazi is at the moment, but I think he will be crossing the line now, and he will also confirm 9th place. Moza will confirm 10th. Prower most likely confirm 11th, and Miyuki will most likely confirm 12th. If that's going to be the case. Yes, Adachi will maintain 12th place out of this, even despite him essentially spinning out. So let's see. Just wanted to see if there are any potential battles to come. Monozetaro currently running in 8th after qualifying outside the top 10 in his debut Formula Hololive International race. Currently 24 laps complete, and we are still raring to go for more, as we are... You can see if there are more things to look out for. Dan Evans continues to maintain this race lead here in the Phillip Island Super Prix. Only 57 laps this time compared to, I believe, 67 the last time we raced here. Was that 68 or 69? I really can't remember, but... There's still a lot to go here in this race. Anything can still happen. Speaking of which, we are almost close to the halfway mark, actually. I believe this is after we pass lap 29. After lap 29, we should be able to get past to the halfway stage and looking at the fuel loads. A lot of these drivers are going to be maintaining their position where they are. You just noticed though, I believe Great Power and Hunter and Yuki have already made their pit stops. Lloyd Boschwald has been overtaken by Monozetaro after. Looks to me that he has made a mistake somewhere. Meanwhile, Monozetaro now up into 7th place. Apologies for the intermittent silence in the commentary, as there's not much to talk about as for now. Well, for now, I mean, we can talk about the members. Yeah, we should be talking about the members though. So, as far as the list of VTubers that will be representing Hololive members who will be performing in the Hololive Stage World Tour Soar concert. We have a few names to talk about, actually. Chris Salman for ASCII, and then we have Lim Kai Pakos Bales, Hunter Miyuki for Kobo Kanaeru. At least that's for Split A. Split B, we will see Corey Recommended for Takanashi Kiara alongside Wamakashi with Tsunamaki Watame, and then also Hoshinova Muna to Hinoji Tayo. I know it's a bit of a bonus here in Split A, as if we forgot to mention, Takeda Dashi is also racing in this split. Still a long way to go in this race. We have now passed 27 laps. Still not at the halfway stage as it stands. Just really can't help but sense the intrigue of what might happen next, because you already saw lots of incidents happening in the first half of the race. But right now we're going to be seeing something more, as Mozev now is gaining on Haziq Yazid, both Malaysian drivers. I mean, one can argue that we are actually racing a clone of Haziq Yazid due to the fact that essentially due to the fact that, you know, Haziq Yazid actually is dealing with SPM, Malaysia's college entrance exam. Basically how this works is that all the 17-year-old Form 5 students, they take SPM, and there are at least 2 drivers in aero competitions who, well, 3 drivers in aero competitions who are going to be dealing with the big SPM exams as we speak. And of course, one of these drivers are actually Haziq Yazid racing today, but he's racing his clone, so he's not racing his actual self. He's actually handling the exams back at home in Malaysia. Same goes for Ryan Kagawa. The actual Ryan Kagawa is not, well, no. Ryan Kagawa we're seeing here is actually in, well, there's actually a Ryan Kagawa here in, there's actually 2 Ryan Kagawas. I feel like we need to give some extra explanations though. So there's a Ryan Kagawa in, at home, and there's another Ryan Kagawa ready to make his move in, actually, Boram. So again, if you missed the news, you may ask yourself, hey, shouldn't there be Ryan Kagawa racing in the split? No, he will be racing in split B due to essentially he is actually going to be racing in split B due to the fact that due to Dak Patterson and Bernardo Santiago leaving due to their VTubers all ending their service with Hololive, we have now seen actually Ryan Kawa being transferred into split B, as we are now seeing Aziz Muslim now trying to go down the outside though of Haziq Yazid. Will he make a move down the inside? You saw them going side by side, but Haziq Yazid placed his car very, very well though to hold on to his position. And so we're gonna ask ourselves what's next in this race, as we have now officially already passed the halfway stage, 29 laps complete. Oh, here comes Aziz Wazid now down the inside. Aziz Wazid, I believe, born in 2004. Or yeah, he's born in 2004, and then we have Haziq Yazid born in 2006, and that's Haziq Yazid going off again. But fortunately, he managed to get himself back onto the track, but that cost him 2 positions. Roy Brower now up into 10th. Aziz Wazid now maintaining his position in 9th. Still huge amounts of intrigue to see where these drivers essentially end up. It's always an intrigue to see where these drivers end up, because you just don't know where they'll be the next few laps. 1 minute they're leading, and the next thing you know, they crash. 1 minute you see a driver in last, and the next thing you know, the next 10 or 20 laps, the driver's in the lead. That just shows you how chaotic and unpredictable motorsports can be, and especially here in Formula Hall of International. Aziz Wazid, of course, is the defending champion, and so he does have experience on how to defend, although he was involved in that lap 1 collision, so, but he is not going to be complaining too much. Still a long way to go though. 31 laps complete. Well, we feel like the pit stop cycles are going to start extremely soon though, in the next 5 laps though. So we can probably expect lap 35, 36 for the pit stop strategies to actually start. There's going to be a massive amount of pit lane activity. And we're also going to be seeing how much Salman can try to get himself close. He now matches Monozettaros's time. Or rather, Salman is actually holding back Monozettaro and Ludwig Boswell. So rather just Monozettaro. Oh, someone's actually gone off a bit, but I think no one has actually gone off into the grass. Onboard Monozettaro trying to chase Crystal Salman. But if he is just as slow as Salman, oh, you can see here how much he's trying to fling himself at Salman, but Salman is keeping himself ready. He is still maintaining his spot on the track too, so that is also going to be a major plus. Usually these F2 cars, they have superior straight line speed, but let's see if he has to lift off though, just to keep his car on the track into the dirty air. but usually these F2 cars, they have more power, so they have more straight line speed. So, and which compared to these Apollo JP cars, they only have around 500 plus horsepower. So that's gonna be a major thing to look out for. Here comes Monazetaro down the inside, clearing Crystal Salman. Hide behind the money, that's the way it goes, maybe. That's the right term to use. Sometimes weird things can be said, sometimes, you know, sleep commentating is a thing, so yeah. So there are those weird moments sometimes that we can look back on. We'll probably explain that later, but otherwise, let's take a look into Great Power though. The gas now dropped down to 0.5 of a second between these two. Us is one on the defensive side. On the attack, there is actually hang on, I just want to check on who is actually behind. It's actually Great Power. I think the first of the pit stops have just commenced though, actually. Just wanted to check though. Or rather, that's Ludwig Boschwald though, losing touch to Monazetaro. Oh, and this is another side-by-side battle though. We saw it at the back though. Moaziv and Power. Moaziv now just trying to get himself back into where he is. Sometimes there can be massive accidents that can happen. Yes, this has happened in Formula Hall International before. Anyways, we are actually noticing a bit of a change here. Ever since, you know, Dan Evans had as like that 5-second lead. It's now dropped down to 1 second. So Enzo Ferrari is now catching up into Dan Evans. Not sure if there's any explicable reason as to why, but the drivers are also being called into the pit lane, or about to be called into pit lane pretty soon though. Enzo Ferrari, Dan Evans, Liam Kai, the first to be called. So we are going to be seeing pit stop activity finally. So Dan Evans is going to be the first to come into the pits after 35 laps of racing here in Phillip Island. And here's our first movement into the pits for the in-class cars. First up is Dan Evans, then it's Enzo Ferrari, and then Ethan Bertelsen, Liam Kai. It looks to me everyone is going to come into the pits. It's Angela Sims as well. Look at the worn out tires. Just wanted to check the worn out tires as well. Not really worn out at the back. The track isn't really that big in terms of tire wear. Joshua Zurich makes his move, but Monazetaro will stay out. Alongside, I believe, Great Power, Aziz Moazif. However, for Loic Boschwald, I think he will also make his move to the pit lane soon. But right now, no confirmation as of yet. So, it's a pretty quick turnover, actually. So, it's going to be Dan Evans and Liam Kai this time. Up front, Ethan Burleson third. Sims fourth. Enzo Ferrari has lost a lot of time in the pits. And now is in fifth. And has to defend against Joshua Zurich. Oh, talk about a close call. But you can see here it's still Evans leading this race. Two cars, two teams with Australian backgrounds are gonna be in a battle for the race win here in Phillip Island. It's Dan Evans currently leading as an Australian for iRunning of 15, and there's Liam Kai in second place chasing Dan Evans, representing a virtual YouTuber from Australia. Well, based on the accent and all that stuff, and in terms of origins, not exactly the origins one, but she's just very much Australian coded, so we're just gonna leave it at that. A bit of a change though. Ethan Burleson, the Hoopans are gonna be very excited about this. They're gonna be moving about this even more with Ethan Burleson now in third place for Nana Shimume. Angela Sims fourth. Oh, so you can take a look though into the progress starts. It's gonna be insane. Angela Sims gains 10 positions from the start. She started last. She's now up into 4th place. So it's gonna be yet another interesting affair for these drivers. Meanwhile, Sims herself is trying to catch up into Enzio Ferrari, running in 5th place. Ooh, the aggressive downshifting. Just trying to get that car stopped in time for the corner. You can see how much he's just trying to push. Meanwhile, Dan Evans is just keeping on maintaining the gaps built. He's now in the lead. Oh, here comes Great Power. Now this was it once again. And this time it's going to be Great Power finally up into 7th place. The Dale Earnhardt fan that just keeps on delivering is now up into 7th place. 3 things he's interested at: Dale Earnhardt, storm chasing, and Gaugura. And of course he is representing said VTuber into something possibly amazing. Just a Salman, meanwhile, just down in 14th. Looks like Salman won't be interrupting much of the points positions as we speak though, but Salman is just having a race on his own. He's just excited to race outside of Japan for once. And by the way, nice to see more people in the live chat. Drop by your comments in the live chat. If you like the stream, please drop a like. And if you want to see more ARO racing, please drop a subscription. We'd like to have your company for the following races. Next races will be in Bororam on Friday evening. Thai and Japan time. So we'd like to see all of your attendance, all of your viewerships there as well. $19 laps to go. And Haziyazi again goes off. This time he's now out of the track, and that's going to be a Haziyazi. It's going to have another reset, and that's what actually mean though Salman might actually have a chance to finish 13th. Haziyazi now still stuck on the track though. To Salman in 14th. Sims meanwhile chasing Ethan Burleson, trying to find that 3rd place spot. Dan Evans meanwhile is in the lead. Louis Boschwald's in 12th. Just want to show you the big gap that Dan Evans is having right now. Well, it's not exactly that big of a gap though, because the drivers at the back on that shot before, those are the drivers battling for 10th place. Aziaz is still stuck, and that's what actually means that he's actually going to DNF in this race. And if this is actually going to be true, then Swisher Salman is actually going to he does actually take 13th place. Crazy stuff. So it will be almost a guaranteed 4 points for Hazi Yazid for the number 90 Shiori Novella car. He doesn't teleport himself back into the pits. And as it stands right now, Salman will most likely just stay in 13th, but he will not be recorded in the formal Hololive International point standings. Battle for 10th is still going to be pretty feisty though, looking into, or rather, actually, yeah. So, Kusama will steal the 13th place points position over Haziyazi. Haziyazi will, because it will be credited with a 14th place finish here. Dan Evans, on the other hand, where is he right now? He's currently in the main straight. The drivers are currently between 10 and 12, just exited turn 2. So you can see potential battles that might be brewing between Evans and Kai. If Evans gets stuck behind lap car, you can see here it's a battle though. Meanwhile, here's Zetaro and Miyuki though. Miyuki on the inside, trying to make her move, and that is herself into 10th place. Oh, here's Zetter and Boschwald though, almost thinking of a side-by-side move, but Boschwald has to think better off on that number 34. The Otomo, well, the Fall Otomo, that is, he's representing fellow German in aero competitions. Boschwald though has a very good run though on for that final quarter. The gap's only at 2/10 of a second. He might actually think of a move down the inside of Mono Zetaro. He already has more racing experience than Mono Zetaro there, Louis Boschwald. He now goes down the inside. He will make his move down the inside. He will stay around in 11th place. As we're saying this, Dan Evans is now at turn 1. Liam Kai is not far behind. Still a lot to play for here in Phillip Island in this Super Prix, the first of 2 in round 8 of the season. One half of the Int field is now in Australia racing, while the other is currently chilling in Thailand, just waiting for the race to actually start. Some might actually want to go to Bangkok for a bit of a tourist attraction, which actually got me a bit hungry, honestly, so just excuse me there. But anyways, back onto the racing here in Victoria. Haziyazi, I believe, is just out of the race entirely this time. Just not making his move back into the track. He is going to be guaranteed to finish 14th. Salman is set to finish 13th. And his tires are also pretty shot as well. Just noticing a bit. Angela Simmons, meanwhile, only 7/10 behind Ethan Bertelsen. Ethan Bertelsen doing a very good job to defend his 3rd place. Just wanting the woes that he has had to experience at Sepang. Now 1:20 p.m. in Australia, and especially in the eastern side, who practice daylight savings. Salman only 1:28. Where do Boschwald and Zetaro get themselves into? Dan Evans just exits turn 10. Mono Zetaro is now at the final corner. So he just sends when the lap car is going to meet the lead lap car once again. Salman is already comfortably 1 lap down. You can see Burleson is only slightly faster than Sins by 1/10 of a second, which kind of shows to you how good Ethan Burleson is at maintaining his gaps up front. As far as actually racing other drivers, we really haven't been seeing much from Burleson, but you can just see how good he is on the track. The movie number 21 just continues to showcase his skills. I mean, we've heard. I think if you are a human, you have seen this Twitter image about the whole how essentially fixing how people fix pain as a kid, and as an adult you see Nana Shimomi performing as an idol. Well, we are seeing we're seeing another imagery of that in the form of Ethan Burleson racing that number 21 Nana Shimomi car. Burleson's doing a very good job though in third place. Can't absolutely sugarcoat this one. Just can't help though but think about Nana Shimomi though. Very interesting and dark, despite being one of the aspects of, despite being the aspect of civilization. But apparently she hasn't went into a university until recently, so apparently we've heard stories of her being in university. So while she's also doing her VTuber work, she is currently studying in university with Hachama. I remember Mumi and Hachama actually having a battle between the university students, because they said it themselves. We should be allowed to say it as well. Ethan Burleson now has a personal best, 170.152. Very good stuff there. But now you can see here's Monozetaro. If Dan Evans can clear Monozetaro, then he's almost through on to win here in Phillip Island. The hometown driver winning at home. Zetaro's gap to Evans has gotten closer and closer, and we are possibly going to be seeing Mono possibly defending for all he can against Evans. The difference in speed, 1.5 seconds, so it's overwhelmingly in Evans's favor, as he might actually have a chance to actually clear the lap car of Monozetaro, being the first of the EN class cars to go a lap down. Oh yeah, 10 laps to go here in Phillip Island. And yes, we now get to see properly Evans possibly being stuck behind Liam Kai, and the peak gap between Evans and Kai have now been at 5.1 seconds. It's going to drop down as long as Evans is stuck behind Monozetaro, but if Monozetaro can actually provide a challenge to Dan Evans, it's going to be the outside, it's going to be the inside. If Monozetaro can just hang on to his position. And as you can see here, Dan Evans just could not peel into the inside of Mono Zetaro. And this actually means that Liam Kai might actually have a chance to close down the gap. Gap's now dropped down to 4.9 seconds. He lost 3/10 on that one corner alone. Oh, you can see here how much more time Liam Kai is gaining, and it's now 4.4 seconds. Dan Evans really needs to find a way to get past the lap car Mono Zetaro. Again, no blue flags in Assetto Corsa, unfortunately. Again, Dan Evans struggles. Liam Kai, on the other hand, is just gonna take it easy though. The gap's now dropped down to 4.3 seconds, 4.2 seconds, 3.9 seconds. And if it continues on for 2 or 3 laps, then the race for the race lead has now gone back on. And it looks to me that Dan Evans has just lost pace altogether. Liam Kai is currently on the hunt to bring Hakos Mills her first win at home. He already won at Mosport with Hakos Mills, but will he be able to bring it home in Phillip Island? Dan Evans this time now continues to find anything, I mean anything, against Mono, but right now there's just nothing, and the gaps just continue to close. It was at 3.4 seconds at the start of the lap. Now it's dropped down to 3.0 seconds. And it's now about Dan Evans just trying to keep his cool. He's gonna go down the inside at turn 9 at this long section. No, he's gonna go down the inside at turn 10 at the hairpin. He will finally attempt to clear. And that will mean that Evans should be able to maintain his race lead. Dan Evans continues to have his spot in the race lead as he now just continues to be in control. Oh, and that's Louis Boschwald. We just noticed though that we saw Louis Boschwald's car being beached into the gravel. Oh dear. But at least that will mean that he will be securing 13th place as Salman is still in the racetrack. You saw the gravel marks over there. That I think is a sign of Louis Boschwald just going off on his own. Now it's Liam Kai just trying to see if he can salvage second, just maintain his spot in second place. Brilson's in third, 8 seconds behind Liam Kai. Simpson Ferrari on the other hand, 4th and 5th. So Boschwald will be credited with a 13th place finish. I think this will be a confirmation. Man, not what you'd be expecting in this championship battle, at least in the mid tables. Meanwhile, we're now at 51 laps complete. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laps to go. Dan Evans currently in the middle of completing this lap. And just a reminder that we will be updating the championship standings a bit later due to outside commitments that I have to also deal with. We're now on lap 52. We're about to start lap 53, and he's not going to deal with Crystal Salman, a lap car on which he's only been able to set 120s. Dan Evans has been setting 117s. So there might be a question on the battles that might be applied. Here's Dan Evans trying to go down the inside of Crystal Salman. Has to left off though, and to just give him some space. Liam Kai, on the other hand, is stuck behind Mono Zetaro, or lost a lot of time to Mono Zetaro, which isn't going to help with finding his way to the race lead. Dan Evans, on the other hand, is just itching to get himself past that lap car. You can see though the amount of time gained in the corners alone that Dan Evans has found. Dan Evans has lost a good amount of time, as Kai has yet to pass the lap car Mono Zetaro though. Dan Evans, on the other hand, still has yet to clear Crystal Salman. Crystal Salman actually is going to be causing a lot of trouble though. 120 for Dan Evans. Liam Kai has now set a 118.689. So the race for the win is actually not over just yet. And as you can see here, oh, that's Dan Evans going off wide. He might just be able to make his way through. And that's going to be Dan Evans just ahead of Liam Kai. And now the race for the race lead is back on in the flash. This is what I mean by anything can still happen in racing and motorsport, especially in Formula Hololive. And now what was a comfortable gap between Dan Evans and Liam Kai have now shrunk down into a gap of under a second. And you can see here he's now back to square one against Mono Zetaro, who have now unlapped himself. Absolutely crazy set of scenes here that we have been seeing. We are now coming into the final four, or rather 3.5 laps, or rather 3.25 laps of racing to go. Dan Evans just needs to clear. He just needs to clear the lap car of Mono Zetaro to seal this race. Mono Zetaro now says a 118.935, and Dan Evans not having a greater time there. Liam Kai though manages to gain 3 laps to go here in the Phillip Island Super Prix. No mistake again from Dan Evans. Zetaro's catching Salman. Evans is catching Zetaro. Dan Evans. Oh, here comes actually Zetaro trying to go down the inside, I believe, of Salman. Evans, meanwhile, trying to find a way past Mono, but it's not going to be enough. Salman just causing a massive amount of traffic to be formed at the back. Again, we are now 1.4 seconds away from a Liam Kai dive bomb to decide this race win. Will there be dive bombs here at turn 10? There might be dive bombs. There are dive bombs here. Look at Mono Zetaro having to give space to Dan Evans though. Dan Evans has to be pushed off wide. Dan Evans is still on wide. Dan Evans is still side by side with Mono Zetaro, and that might actually seal it in the penultimate lap of this race. Just a Salman. Oh, you can see how Dan Evans manages to weave his way around traffic. Just a Salman causes trouble to Dan Evans. That might be it for Dan Evans. Him going off at turn 2 might just be a blooper after all, as he manages to easily get past 2 cars in between a straight. And meanwhile, we get to see more racing action though, even though this is Mono Zetaro just clearing Crystal Salman to put him a lap down. Liam Colley, on the other hand, has no response. Looking at Ethan Burleson and Sims, they might have a decent shout to get themselves into the second place spot. Dan Evans just needs to keep himself calm. And meanwhile, as Liam Kai finally cleared himself against Crystal Salaman, he hasn't cleared Mono Zetaro throughout the entire race. But Dan Evans, though, only has one corner to go before he starts the final lap. The hometown hero, racing for Irony of 15, is gonna make it done. Is gonna get the job done. The amount of halloo that the fans may experience when seeing Irony 15 may be unreal. Dan Evans, on the other hand, is just focused on getting his car into the finish line. He once got out of pre-qualifying and managing to get himself into a stellar P2 run at Sepang. And now he's at the precipice of bringing his car, the Irony 15, number 15, to, I believe, its first win in Formula Hololive competitions. You go back into 23-24, as he only has 3 corners left. Dan Evans went dry. He finished 16th the previous season. He hasn't finished inside the podium in his entire career up until Sepang. But now coming to the final corner, representing the alien from outer space who knows how to draw, Dan Evans from Australia wins at home in the Phillip Island Super Prix. Valiant effort from Liam Kai to finish second. Ethan Bertelsen finishes third. What an amazing result that has been for the podium sitters. Enzo Ferrari finishes fourth despite having a very decent start of the race. Josh Azert fifth. Angela Sims sixth. Drew Ferrari, what a comeback he has. He now gets into seventh. Adachi eighth. Miyuki ninth. And Azim Wazif 10th. Boschwal and Yazar confirmed go into 13th and 14th. But what a win that has got to be for Dan Evans. It had been coming. It had been coming. But finally it has come. Liam Kai has tried his luck to bring home this win for Hakos Bales, but it just wasn't meant to be, but it was a close run thing. Great Power sets the fastest lap of this race, right at the dev, 1:16.507. Adachi 8th, Miyuki 9th, and Wazif 10th. That should sort things out. And Haziyazi, the last driver to cross the line. And that should be it for this race here in Phillip Island. The Phillip Island Super Prix results have been confirmed. Dan Evans wins his first race for Irony 15. It's actually Yufi's first win in Formula Hololive and her first one in aero competition since mid-2023. Liam Kai finishes second for Hakos Bales, who is the home VTuber here in Australia. Ethan Burleson third, Enzo Ferrari fourth, Joshua Zurich fifth, Angela Sims sixth, Great Prowess seventh, Takeda Adachi eighth, Hanari Miyuki ninth, and Aziz Muazib inside the top 10. Very, very inspiring stuff here from what we're seeing. Ethan Burleson, though, coming back from crashing at Sepang to finally give the humans lots of reasons to be excited. Just wanted to also highlight Enzo Ferrari, though, started on the front row. I believe he started on pole position, but just hasn't been able to get closer and closer. Meanwhile, we have Joshua Zurich 5th for Mori Calliope. He was excited to get into Australia, and now he gets to enjoy a very nice race. Angelo Sim started at the back, but has also managed to grab home a very solid result. Great Power, after a crash with Aziz Muazif on lap 1, manages to stay in 7th. Takeda Adachi, though, also having a pretty high-profile crash, can you call it? He is now up into 8th place. Hanari Miyuki also had an accident somewhere. She is now in 9th place, and 10th place goes to Aziz Muazif. And of course we have 11th place, actually, Mono Zetaro on his debut for Oro Crony. And also just a reminder that Crystal Salman finishes 12th, so he will not be receiving 14 points for his results. And then 13th place is Loe Boschwal, who Didn't exactly. He was actually a few laps down from what we're seeing. And Yazid, not exactly though. Just wanted to check on to. Oh yeah. So essentially, Yazid actually, yeah. Boswell managed to continue. But I really can't explain how he managed to get himself back into 11th. When at that time. So we are just going to double check on the results. So the results are at this point will be preliminary. So Hazik Yazid and Louis Boschwa will stay in 13th and 14th. I believe they are going to be set to be 12 laps. Well, Hazik Yazid 12 laps down and Louis Boschwa 5 laps down, or rather 6 laps down and 13 laps down. So anyways, let's not waste too much of our time. Let's take a look into the replays, especially onto the incident between Muazif and essentially this one. So here's what happened. So here's the start. Let's take a look. So you can see here, Aziz was actually leading Monozetaro. But I think it's a case of two drivers just going off wide. Though, yeah, that's actually there. You saw there, Ethan, the Great Power, and Aziz was going off at the same time. There's also Hanari Miyuki's incident. Oh, Hanari Miyuki's incident is actually a bit different, though. So it's actually her going side by side, I believe, with Liam Kai. Yeah, she saw a move, and actually does go off. And actually slammed into Ludwig Boschwald and collected Monozetaro. That's why Monozetaro lost a lot of time as well. Karadachi was also involved in an incident, based on what I'm seeing, but not really. Yeah, he was involved in that incident. So if you want to see why, he actually just went off on his own. Just trying to go around the outside of turn 2, but overcooked it. And the Sims meanwhile had a perfect race though. Let's just want to see if we can find any more drivers who are involved in accidents. Haziyazi, meanwhile, just want to see how he ended up in here. So Haziyazi just overcooked himself the corner and just stalled the engine. But Boschwald, on the other hand, just a case of him going off wide. You can see here. Oosh. And that should be the race done and dusted. And speaking of which, we are not going to be updating the championship standings until after the Bororam race. So we hope everyone should be staying tuned though to the results. We hope everyone has enjoyed the race here in Bororam. So that being said, I'm Mohammed Reza, and we'll see you tomorrow evening for the Bororam Super Prix. Again, I just want to remind everyone again, no championship standings after this. We will go straight into Bororam tomorrow evening, so we will be ending the stream here. Again, my name is Mohammed Reza, and you have been watching the 2025 Phillip Island Super Prix. We'll see you tomorrow evening for the Bororam Super Prix.